Hello, I'm Aaron Calvert. I'm the hypnotist on the new Channel 4 TV show, Hello Stranger.
And I'm Sam Fitton, and I was the consultant on the show.
And we're here to answer some questions that have come up about the show. We've seen a lot going around on Twitter. It's caused a bit of a controversy. So we're going to answer as many of those questions as we can. So the biggest question we've got on Twitter is this fake? Was Hello Stranger faked in any sort of way?
I think we can categorically say
No. It wasn't.
It wasn't fake. What you saw was 100% real. Lucy and George were not actors. We didn't hire people in. If we had, it wouldn't have taken so bloody long to make, and it would have been a damn sight easier.
We would have got better actors, if I'm honest.
Absolutely.
If it was actors.
Yeah, quite honestly. No offence, Lucy, George.
This was commissioned on Channel 4 as part of their factual department, which meant that everything that you see on camera had to actually happen. It had to be truth to the T.
Absolutely.
We couldn't cut or retake anything. It had to be exactly what happened on the show.
Lucy and George took months to find as a couple, to find a couple that's acceptable each independently, and then for them to actually be in a couple. It took a lot of hard work.
We ended up with plenty of couples where one was great and the other was rubbish.
Yeah, as you saw in the show, there was plenty of times which didn't go to plan. But then when we finally found Lucy and George, it was great, and we were able to deliver, hopefully, the results that you saw, which are quite unbelievable. But that's down to a hell of a lot of hard work, as we'll mention. But, in a nutshell, was this fake?
No.
So, how did we do it? How did we get two people to forget each other?
And that's really the key thing here, because we didn't erase their memories of each other. We made them temporarily forget who each other were.
Absolutely. There was no removal of any memories and putting them back. That can't actually be done, as far as we're aware. So instead, we had to build this kind of wall, if you will, between their conscious self and their memories.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we did. We met a lot of couples, sort of 40, 50 couples. We tested them for how good they were to suggestion and with hypnosis. Lucy and George stood out, and then we met them 5 or 6 times more to basically prep them and make sure they were the perfect subjects for this experiment. And then we went in to film it.
Absolutely. And our approach is completely different, as far as we're aware, to a lot of stage hypnotists.
Yeah.
Although Aaron comes from a stage performing background, he's also a trained doctor. So combining those two things, we're able to have this kind of unique approach in which we gain the trust of the people that we're going to hypnotise, rather than pressure them like a lot of stage hypnotists do. Absolutely. And we just sit down and have a chat, and Lucy and George can corroborate that. We actually sat down for almost an hour with them and just got to know them.
Yeah.
That way, they fully trusted us. They knew exactly what was going to happen in the show.
And that trust was so important because, it's such a big project. It's such a big prospect of making two people forget each other.
Yeah.
They had to trust that what we were doing was in their best interest.
Absolutely. And so, how did we do it? Well, in a nutshell, it took a long time. It took a lot of planning, a lot of research.
A long time.
It took a lot of trust on the part of Lucy and George to trust us, and it took our ability to gain that trust from them and our approach to hypnosis.
Yeah.
Basically.
So a lot of people have been asking, why didn't Lucy and George just remember each other when they got home from their dates?
Absolutely. And that's because they didn't go home when they left their dates.
Nope. George and Lucy are from Worthing, and this was filmed in London. So
we put them up in hotels, and not only that, but they were chaperoned pretty much 24/7 everywhere they went for 3 days, making sure that they didn't come into contact with each other or other people or sounds or smells or places that may remind them of their other half.
Yeah, and also on Twitter they've talked about taking their mobile phones from them. If you took their mobile phones from them, didn't seeing each other for the first time act as a big trigger? And the answer was, we had such a controlled environment. It was basically Sam and I's job to make sure there was nothing around that would trigger Lucy and George to remember each other.
Yeah.
That included taking their mobile phones off them, changing their perfume and aftershave, briefing the cast, briefing the crew
on a daily basis.
The cast in the singleton dates they went on were briefed not to talk about hypnosis or press too hard on certain subjects. And then when they met each other for the first time, the reason they didn't recognise each other was because for that morning we'd spent an hour with George and an hour with Lucy hypnotising them to make sure they were in the perfect state, so that when they did see each other, there was no chance they were going to remember each other.
They didn't remember each other because it was our job to make sure they didn't. we spent obviously that hour beforehand, but 18 months worth of work so far up to this point. It couldn't now go wrong at this moment. So we had to make sure, although we couldn't guarantee it, but we had to do our absolute best to make sure that everything was in place that it possibly could be, to make sure it was a success. And when it was, thank God, you actually see our genuine reaction on screen. And you see, well, you don't even see my reaction, but I'm behind the camera that's filming Aaron going, oh my God, it was insane.
It was a relief, because it was 18, as you said, it was 18 months of our life. We were 2 days into filming. If it all went wrong at that point, it would have been, the whole thing was blown. It would have been pointless, which it didn't. So it was a great moment. So logistically, actually putting this show together was a bit of a nightmare, as I'm sure all the cast will be able to tell you, and the crew. Trying to pull people in at different points, and oh no, George is coming, quick, move Lucy over there, and hiding people. It was very difficult. But ultimately, it came off, but that's the bit you don't see in the show, because it is quite boring, although I find it quite interesting. That is the boring side of it. You just got to see the best 42 minutes out of 3 whole days. And that's what it comes down to. When we talk about edits and cuts, you're seeing genuine things that happened. We didn't retake anything. No. It's simply that we've cut down 3 days of filming to 42 minutes.
And we say we, the editors, we didn't have any say in that, unfortunately.
No say. A few people have mentioned about George, and was he admitting he was cheating on Lucy at his time during university?
Yes. So, this is something we should clarify. George and Lucy will have mentioned things that they've currently been doing in their lives, or what they have done over the last few years, with absolutely no regard for the other. And that's actually because the hypnotic process that we put them through gave them an almost fake world to believe in, rather than their real life.
So obviously we've erased 4 years of their lives, but we haven't transported them back. Thank you. Haven't transported them back 4 years. They are who they are now. They're the same age, they're the same person. So they have this blank canvas that they had to fill. And what we found was, after testing this in a lot of different ways with a lot of different people, that if we gave them sort of a small false narrative, they then began to build this story on top that made sense to them. So Lucy, for instance, thought that she lived with her mum because that made sense to her. And George equally filled that gap of 4 years, saying, oh, well, I've been to university, I have been single, so therefore I've probably had a few flings. And so in his head, that was completely logical.
And these scenarios were actually given to us by them. In fact, when we mentioned we get to know people, we asked them, what would you be doing now if you weren't with Lucy? What would you be doing if you weren't with George? And the answers they fed to us, we fed right back to them, but under hypnotic suggestion. Therefore, filling in their own head with their own information, which made it even easier for them to believe.
And you find crossover between the dates where they talk about similar stories, but they're completely made up. But to them, it's absolute fact.
So what's been floating around the Twitter sphere is the magic appearing coat trick. Woo! Where did the coat come from? It wasn't in the picture when it was originally taken. Aaron?
It was magic. No, I'm joking, it wasn't magic.
No, it wasn't magic.
It's really simple. If you've ever been to a tourist attraction, you'll notice that you probably get your photo taken at every step of the way, so you can
especially at the London Eye,
buy a version of that picture. When we're all in the queue waiting to go onto the London Eye, there's a big green screen, and Lucy and George in the queue had a picture together. We then all got on the bubble and went around, and that's part of the date that you saw on the London Eye.
And it was a really hot day. It was quite warm.
There was a breeze, which is why they had coats on.
It was warm inside a glass bubble.
So obviously Lucy took her coat off during the date inside the bubble.
Which is what you saw on the show.
So they posed for the picture, which is taken with a camera that's about 15 foot away through glass on a bright sunny day, so obviously that wasn't the best quality. So when they got off the London Eye and they had a look at the pictures, the one taken before with their coats on was the one that was the best. So that's the one they decided to buy.
And there we are, the amazing appearing coat trick.
Solved. Woo! We didn't even need Scooby-Doo.
No. So a lot of people on Twitter have been mentioning that Lucy and George must be on it because they've got something to gain from it because they're vloggers. And that's absolutely true. They may well have something to gain from being on TV, just like anyone that's ever been on TV had something to gain from being on TV.
That was a lot of on TV.
Thanks.
But, you're absolutely right. Of course, George and Lucy put their life online, and this will gain them more exposure. But they're not faking it in any sort of way.
No.
They took part in a genuine, real experiment. And the very reason that they are vloggers is what made them great hypnotic subjects, because the creativity and the ingenuity they bring to their vlogs is what made them the perfect hypnotic subjects.
Absolutely.
A lot of people think it's the stupid people that kind of fall for hypnosis, and that's not true. That's a misconception. It tends to be the creative and the intelligent people that are able to focus on a suggestion and make it real.
Absolutely. And you know what? We put them through so many tests during the filming as well that even they weren't aware of until recently, and you can watch their own vlog where they talk about that and they react to that. Now, these tests weren't sit down with a pen and pencil, answer these questions about life. It was just, most of the time, mundane chit-chat, where while the filming was taking place with Lucy, I would be talking to George about what he's doing at the weekend, who he's going out to see the match with.
And purposely trying to catch them out.
And yeah, we were trying to basically make them stumble, just in case they were faking it. But they passed all the tests.
That wouldn't reflect so well on us. It wouldn't reflect so well on Wall-to-Wall, the production company, or Channel 4, who aired it as factual. Yeah. It is fact.
And so
it really worked.
Yeah, and so we're able to categorically say they weren't faking it, because even the best actors in the world could not have answered the amount of vigorous questions we fired at them while they were under hypnosis and give us all the right answers.
All the physical responses that we tested with the physical suggestions.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the things that we didn't capture on camera were probably some of the best and sort of the most real
proper
life
off-the-cuff moments.
Yeah, because, you know, you stand in front of a camera to give an interview, and of course you're going to come across a little bit solid and a little bit stiff. You know, that's just the way it is, because it's an unnatural environment when you're filming. Yeah. But, you know, we were walking across the golf cart, the go-kart track with George, and he was like, "Oh my God, like, did you see that date when she walked in? Wow,
when
like
Paris walked in."
You know, he was absolutely responding as if he was a single guy, and we had the same thing with Lucy. They were both interested in their other dates, and we found that fascinating.
Some of the best chat happened in the cars between the different places we were filming with them, while they were obviously still under hypnosis. That didn't make the video. The final show. We weren't down to the edit. You know, that's down to the editors, not us. We weren't involved in the editing. But what you saw basically was the best 42 minutes out of 3 days. So do Lucy and George have something to gain from being on TV? Absolutely. The same way we do. The same way anyone, Gary Lineker does on Match Today. Doesn't matter. Anyone that's on TV has something to gain from it. But were they faking it? No, they weren't.
So something else that's popped up online is, why is a magician working on the show?
That's a very good question.
Why are you working on the show?
I'm not sure why I'm working on it. The reason why I'm working on the show is because it's my job to make sure that the impact the hypnosis has is as good as possible. Much like any magic trick, there is a process, just like there is with hypnosis. There is an absolute process. But to make sure that the impact it has on the TV audience and the live audience is as good as possible, you almost need the eye of someone that does it day in, day out. Yeah,
I think the truth of the matter is, you weren't a magician on the show.
No,
like, you weren't brought in because you can do card tricks.
No, there was no magic.
Or you can do magic.
No.
It's real. Well, you were brought in purposely because you can look at A, B and C and see how C can look the best by the end.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly why Sam was brought into the... Well, you were the first one into the project. That's why Sam started in the project. And I came in afterwards with the hypnosis side of things. So thank you for watching. Hopefully we've answered a few of the questions that are floating around online.
Absolutely. If you have any more questions, please comment below. Obviously, leave your questions. We'll get back to you as soon as you can. But as you can imagine, since the show aired, there's been a lot of controversy, so our phones have not stopped buzzing. We will try our best to get back to you as soon as we can. And answer as many of the questions as best we can as well. Because some of them are just outrageous and ridiculous. But some are really good points. So, you know, some people have made some lovely kind of suggestions, and we're really appreciative of all your support as well. Yeah, it really does go a long way. Obviously, it's really, you know, we always focus on the negative comments. We've addressed sort of some of the things that have floated around negatively online. But if you love the show, let us know. We'd love to hear it. You can tweet, Facebook or Instagram, use the hashtag HelloStranger. Yeah. If you like us, you can follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. I'm on as Aaron Calvert, and I'm at SamFitterMagic. And if you think this whole thing was BS, or you're not sure, or you absolutely love hypnosis, do come to the Edinburgh Fringe this year, where Aaron will be performing in a brand new show, Aaron Calvert Declassified.
Yes, I was going to say the name. You took it straight out of my mouth.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Aaron Calvert Declassified is on every day at 6 p.m. at the Gilded Balloon, and you can book tickets at aaroncalvert.com/tickets or the Ed Fringe website. Sam's also got a show there, actually.
I have indeed. If you do want to check out my show, it is magic, not hypnosis. It's called Dreamer, and it's on at 3:25 daily from the 5th of August up to the 25th.
Yep. So thank you for tuning into the video. Please like, share it, tell people about Hello Stranger as well, for them to watch it.
And let's solve a few of these myths that are floating around.
Absolutely. And if you don't believe it, come to a live show.
Absolutely.
We'll prove you wrong.